Once upon a time, in the vast golden savannah, there was a joyful herd of elephants. They roamed freely under the warm African sun, their trunks swinging happily as they journeyed through the grasslands. In the savannah, the world stretched out wide and open like a big, endless blanket of golden grass. The sun painted everything in warm colors, making the land glow with a golden light. Tall trees stood proudly, their branches reaching high into the sky, providing shade and shelter for all kinds of creatures. Animals big and small roamed freely across the savannah, their coats shimmering in the sunlight. Elephants trumpeted happily as they wandered, while giraffes gracefully nibbled leaves from the tallest trees. Zebras trotted in playful herds, their stripes like a beautiful pattern painted by nature itself. Birds filled the air with their songs, soaring high above the ground. Lions, the kings and queens of the savannah, basked in the sun, their majestic presence felt by all who shared this vast land. At night, the savannah came alive with a different kind of magic. The sky became a canvas filled with twinkling stars, and the air was filled with the sounds of nocturnal creatures going about their business under the watchful gaze of the moon. Among this herd of elephants was a young little elephant named Kito. Kito was the smallest of the herd, but he had the biggest heart. He loved to play with his friends, splashing in the water holes and chasing butterflies. Kito and his friends played lots of fun games on the savannah. Sometimes they would chase each other through the tall grass, their trunks held high in excitement. Other times they played hide and seek among the trees, taking turns to hide behind big rocks or bushes. One of their favorite games was splashing in the water holes. They would gather around, spraying water with their trunks and rolling in the mud, giggling with joy. They also loved to test their strength by playfully pushing against each other, their tusks locked in friendly battles. When the sun was high in the sky, they enjoyed taking naps together under the shade of the trees. They would snuggle close, feeling the warmth of the earth beneath them and listening to the gentle sounds of the savannah. No matter what game they played, Kito and his friends always had the most fun when they were together, their laughter echoing across the golden grasslands of the savannah. One day, as they wandered across the savannah, Kito began to feel a little unwell. His usually lively steps slowed, and he seemed tired. His friends noticed his droopy ears and the way he lagged behind the rest of the herd. "Mama, something's not right with Kito," said Tembo, one of Kito's closest friends, to his mother, Mama Lulu, with concern in his voice. Mama Lulu immediately went to Kito's side, her trunk gently caressing his forehead. "You're burning up, little one," she said softly. "Let's find some shade and rest." With the guidance of Mama Lulu, the herd gathered around Kito, forming a protective circle. They found a cool spot under the shade of a baobab tree where Kito could rest comfortably. When Kito fell ill, his friends knew just how to cheer him up. They gathered around him, their gentle eyes full of concern and love. Tembo, his closest friend, nuzzled him softly with his trunk, offering comfort. Others brought him fresh leaves and cool water, placing them gently beside him. They stayed close, their presence like a warm blanket of friendship. Even though Kito felt weak and tired, their kindness lifted his spirits. Sometimes they would sit quietly beside him, sharing stories of their adventures on the savannah. They reminisced about the games they played and the fun they had together. Their words were like little rays of sunshine, chasing away the clouds of sickness that hung over Kito. They made sure he never felt alone, staying by his side through the day and into the night. And as Kito slowly started to feel better, their gentle cheers turned into joyous trumpets of celebration. With their love and care, Kito knew he was never alone, even in his weakest moments. And as he recovered, he cherished the bond he shared with his friends even more, grateful for their unwavering support on the vast African savannah. The older members of the herd stood guard and protected the little ones from any harm, but they also provided entertainment. One of them, Kito's own grandmother, had been around for longer than Kito could even imagine, and she told him this tale. Once upon a time, in the heart of the African savannah, there stood a mystical tree of enormous proportions. It was said that this tree, known as the Great Baobab, had roots that reached deep into the earth and branches that touched the sky. Legend has it that the Great Baobab was not just any tree, but a guardian of the savannah, watching over all who lived there with wisdom and grace. Its trunk was wide and gnarled, adorned with intricate carvings that told the stories of the land. The tale of the Great Baobab began many, many moons ago, when the first elephants roamed the savannah. They sought refuge under its vast canopy, finding shade from the scorching sun and shelter from the raging storms. As generations passed, the Great Baobab became a symbol of strength and unity for all creatures of the savannah. Animals would gather beneath its branches to share news, celebrate victories, and seek guidance in times of trouble. But as the years went by, the Great Baobab began to wither and fade. Its leaves turned brown and its branches grew brittle. The animals of the savannah watched in sorrow as their beloved guardian started to crumble before their eyes. Determined to save the Great Baobab, the elephants, led by the wisest matriarchs, embarked on a journey to find the mystical waters rumored to possess healing powers. Through vast deserts and dense jungles, they traveled, facing many challenges along the way. Finally, after a long and arduous journey, they reached the hidden oasis where the mystical waters flowed. With great reverence, they collected the sacred water and carried it back to the savannah, their hearts filled with hope. With tender care and unwavering determination, they poured the mystical waters around the roots of the Great Baobab, whispering prayers for its revival. And miraculously, as if touched by divine magic, the tree began to blossom once more. The Great Baobab's branches stretched high into the sky, its leaves vibrant and green. The animals of the savannah rejoiced, knowing that their guardian had been saved from the brink of oblivion. From that day forward, the Great Baobab stood tall and proud, a beacon of hope and resilience for all who dwelled in the vast African savannah. And the tale of its miraculous revival was passed down through generations, reminding all who heard it of the power of unity, determination, and the enduring magic of the natural world. When Kito's grandmother finished her tale, all the little elephants in the herd were still staring at her, their eyes wide open as they listened carefully to every word. Days passed, and Kito's fever began to subside thanks to the care of his herd. They watched over him tirelessly, ensuring he had everything he needed to get better. As Kito recovered from his illness, his friends played gentle games with him to help him feel better. They didn't want to tire him out too much, so they chose activities that were calming and easy. One of their favorite games was simply walking together through the savannah, side by side. They strolled slowly, enjoying the warmth of the sun on their backs and the cool breeze rustling through the grass. Sometimes they would play a game of trunk wrestling, where they gently wrapped their trunks around each other and pushed back and forth. It was a way to strengthen their bonds of friendship while also being careful not to exert too much energy. Another game they enjoyed was playing with soft leaves and twigs, tossing them gently back and forth between each other. They laughed as the leaves danced through the air, their movements light and playful. And when Kito felt up to it, they would gather by the waterhole and splash around together, taking turns spraying water with their trunks and rolling in the mud. It was a refreshing way to cool off and have fun without overexerting themselves. No matter the game they played, Kito's friends always made sure to be gentle and considerate of his recovery. They knew that spending time together and sharing moments of joy was the best medicine for their dear friend. Eventually, Kito was back to his old self, trumpeting happily as he frolicked with his friends in the golden grass. The herd rejoiced, knowing that their care and love had helped their little friend recover. From that day on, Kito's bond with his herd grew even stronger. They knew that no matter what challenges they faced, they would always stand together, ready to care for one another with kindness and compassion on the vast African savannah. As the night approached and the sun dipped low in the sky, the herd made a special decision. They decided to spend one last night under the comforting branches of the baobab tree before continuing their journey in the morning. Slowly and carefully, they gathered together beneath the spreading canopy of the tree. They formed a close-knit circle, the older elephants encircling the younger ones protectively. The air was filled with a sense of peace and tranquility as they settled in for the night. As darkness fell, the sounds of the savannah filled the air. Crickets chirped softly in the distance, and the gentle rustle of leaves whispered in the wind. The older elephants hummed low, a soothing melody that echoed through the night. One by one, they closed their eyes, feeling the soft earth beneath them and the cool night air on their skin. They listened to the calming rhythm of each other's breathing, a gentle symphony that lulled them into a deep and restful sleep. Under the watchful gaze of the stars above, the herd slept soundly, knowing that they were safe and together. And as they dreamt beneath the sprawling branches of the baobab tree, they felt a deep sense of contentment, grateful for the bond they shared and the beauty of the savannah that surrounded them. Good night, little ones. Sleep tight.